Aboriginal culture when you were in school? A lot of people say not very much. But while things are improving, the Healing Foundation is calling on our schools to include the story of the stolen generations, and it's come up with a kit to help teachers do that. I spoke to Fiona Petersen, the CEO of the Healing Foundation, about why learning about this piece of history is particularly important.
It's so they're getting a more fuller story of Australia's history, but importantly how it impacts today. So our survivors tell a story about traumas they've gone through as a result of colonisation, but also the important story of strength and resilience to overcome what they've been through, and to discover that there are really wonderful elements in our cultures that have always kept us safe and well and will continue to. They're some of the reasons too why our cultures are the longest surviving across the globe.
Yeah, so there's a great message of resilience and strength there, but also, that understanding of intergenerational trauma. How do you think teaching children about the stolen generations can help, shape the future for our whole country?
How it shapes the future is we're exposing our young people who are the futures of systems like the health system, the education system, the justice system. They're the future contributors to these systems, and they will have roles where they can make really good judgments and decisions with the full story and with the truth, not and that needs to be taught to them so that when these issues arise, when our survivors need to interact with them, when they're workers in this system, that they can contribute to a survivor's healing.
Absolutely, okay. So you're calling for all schools in Australia to teach content about the stolen generations. Are schools not teaching this at the moment?
Look, I think they are. I think there are some really, there have been some really great gains across education systems and sectors where, there's some focus in the national or the Australian curriculum, for example, but we know that, through our work that it's often, there's a level of anxiety or fear about going too deeply. And our resource kits take the fear out of it because you have the lesson plan. It's for each age group. It's been developed by experts, by curriculum developers, but also by experts and leaders from our communities. And so it's got 13,000 downloads already from our website. We know we have about 10,000 schools across the country, but we think the reason why it's getting so much traction is because we are really taking that fear out of it. We've done all the hard work, so a teacher just needs to pick up the lesson plans and follow a process.
If teachers or schools want to access your resources on teaching content about the stolen generations, how can they access that kit?
Yeah, look, we have a pretty easy to navigate website. It's the healingfoundation.org.au/schools if you want to head straight to what resources we support schools with.
And I will just ask you, I'm not sure if there's a link here, but Australia Day is coming up on Tuesday. How does the Healing Foundation view that day?
Yeah, look, that's a good question. We know that that day re-traumatises our survivors. It's referred to as Survival Day, but there are very few, if any, in our community who aren't re-traumatised when that day comes around each January. But what will always inspire me is how willing the survivors are to share their stories and to build change narratives about understanding the full history, not a sanitised version, but the actual truth and how important it is to deal with that truth. So we are fully behind our survivors taking that view.
So what will the Healing Foundation and survivors be doing on that day? It is a public holiday. Do you do something else in particular instead?
Yeah, well, for our workforce, we leave it up to the individual. Most of us work on that day, and there are no judgments about what people choose to do on that day, but we definitely take a moment just to reflect and to honour our survivors.
Fiona Petersen is the CEO of the Healing Foundation, talking about their thoughts on Australia Day there. Also calling for all schools to teach the